Welcome to Worthy Ones, the video series where I take all the newest issue 1 comic books that I read for the current comic book week and deem them worthy or not worthy. Guys, I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content and you think you might like me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, make sure or consider hitting that subscribe button. So got a pretty good show for you today. We're more heavily focused on DC these days. So with that being said, let's get started with this week's episode. FML, this is issue 1. This is a 32-page comic for the price of $5, written by Kelly Sue DeConnick, and the art is done by David Lopez. The artwork is actually really good. I do like the characters. I like the way they look. I like how there's certain instances in this comic where a girl draws on notebook paper and those things like basically come to life. I thought that was really cool, right? So I thought the art was actually pretty nice and different and vibrant artwork and colors and stuff like that. So I thought it was good. Now, when it came to the story here, I thought I would really like this because I tend to like maybe horror or coming of age stories, high school student stuff. And when it came to this comic book, for some reason, I felt like I was like really old. I am old, but I just couldn't get into what Kelly Sue DeConnick was trying to get at with this book. Like, I felt like she was almost trying too hard to be that cool high school student going, hey, I'm still relevant in today's world. I know what the high school kids like, you know, and I try, that's what it kind of like I got at here. And when it came to like the certain characters, yes, they all have their distinct personalities is what you want in a comic book, but there were so many characters and different personalities to the extreme. I was just like, wait, who is this person again? Why is this person so different from that person and this and that? And then you got the mom in here as well. I just thought it was kind of like a little bit all over the place. I just could not capture this book. Like, I could not get into it. It was frustrating, right? And then at the end of the day, you wind up seeing a specific ritual that happens, and something happens to one of our kids in this book. So even though I give it credit for being different, the artwork was pretty good, for me, I'm not the audience of this book. So it is not worthy. I will not be continuing this book. I'm not saying it's a horrible book. I'm just not the audience for it. And so for me personally, I'm going to give this one a D+. Other people could completely love this book, but I just could not get into it. Just, again, Kelly Sue trying to be like a high school student herself. That's the way I look at it. Something is Killing the Children. This is issue 0. This is 40 pages for the price of $5. Written by James Tynion IV. The art is done by Werther Delandria. I always love the artwork in this comic book. It just works best here, not in Green Lantern, that Elseworld storyline. The facial expressions are really good. I love Erica Slaughter's facial expression when you see it in the comic because, you know, her eyes get so big. You know, she's got that surprised or shocked look. It looks really good. Now, this comic book is an issue that kind of leads into issue 1. You get to see kind of like a glimpse or a tail end of a mission that Erica Slaughter just completed leading up to those events, right? And it almost makes you want to go back and say, okay, let's read issue 1 all over again, because all this stuff that you see in here was like in issue 1, certain things, right? Now, in this comic, you wind up getting this police officer that's interrogating the girl that was involved in Erica Slaughter's last mission, and her name was Sarah. And he's trying to ask her all kinds of questions and things like that. And what happens after this interview, you're kind of like, oh, dang, now the story is going to pick up from here. And it's kind of like almost the house is setting up Erica Slaughter like this entire time, and when you read it, you'll understand why. And being that if you're a longtime reader of this series and you know all the different factions, you again have an understanding why. So this book is very much a worthy comic book. Now, if you're expecting any type of action in this book, you're not going to get that, okay? If you've never read Something is Killing the Children before, I honestly would say, to get a better feel for this series, you got to read some trades, right? And when you read these trades, you'll have a better understanding of what this actual comic is. It's a phenomenal series if you stuck through it all the way through. So at the end of the day, I'm going to give this one a solid B. If you're looking for action, it's not there. If you're again, a newer reader, it's going to be a little bit confusing for you. But I still thought it was a really solid comic. And now I'm at the point when it comes to the series, I'm ready for the story to progress. And it looks like we're going to get that in the next issue. Green Arrow 2024 Annual Issue 1, the true swan song here of Joshua Williamson's run. We got Sean Azakis, who does the artwork. I love the artwork in this comic book. You get to see all the different generations of Green Arrows here because he's actually telling a story to his grandkids on the island about a particular character that he's been chasing for decades, right? And his name is Firestarter. So check out this character here. It looks really cool. And this was the one thing that he missed because his grandkids were like, grandfather, I heard there was a miss in your career and you never miss. And he was hesitant about talking to him. And he's been telling the kids this story. And it was just really, really a lot of fun because the kids are at one point are like, you're lying. You just don't want to tell the rest of the story because, you want to take your nap and things like that. And what the story really does emphasize is family, right? He's like, throughout my career, whether I missed or succeeded, the biggest thing is my family, right? And I think that's what Joshua Williamson's accomplishment was on this book. That's what he wanted to accomplish in his run here, was that Green Arrow family, the emphasis on family, and I could appreciate that. And I'm not sure yet when I read the new run if I'm going to miss that family or I'm just going to be happy that it focuses on Ollie. I guess time will actually tell. But when you get to the end of this story, old Green Arrow, or Grandfather Ollie, or Old Man Ollie, you should say, has this epiphany on who this Firestarter character actually is. And the grandkids are just like, come on, can we go on this adventure with you? And he's like, sure. And they all are dressed up as little red arrows. And it was really a lot of fun. And this book is worthy. Definitely a fun read, a great conclusion to Joshua Williamson's run on the series. Highly recommend this book. If I had to grade this book, I'm going to give this one an A. It was a solid read. I never thought I would enjoy an annual that doesn't really mean anything or you need to read in continuity, but this is what makes comic books fun. Sometimes you just pick it up with no expectation and it's just a one and done and you loved it, right? And sometimes simple is better. Backroll. This is issue 1, 32 pages for the price of $4. This one is written by Tate Brumble and the artwork is done by Takashi Mazawa. The artwork is all right. I felt like it was a little flat in my opinion. I think this is going to be an acquired taste, and as you read this series, I feel like, this art might fit the book eventually. You'll get used to it, and I think fans of this comic are probably been jonesing for a Cassandra Cain comic book for a while, and they're hyped about this, and I feel like this might be a little bit better for them, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm excited, Cassandra Cain is back, there's lots of action, there's some fighting in this comic book, and that's that. But for me, this book was not really worthy. I don't think I'm going to be continuing this comic book because for me, it was a lot of back and forth between, Cassandra and Lady Shiva and how she's her mother. And then there's a terrorism. And then there's this clan that comes through. And there wasn't just anything here that really captured me, right? Cassandra, I know, doesn't, she's not supposed to talk a lot, I guess. But I felt like she talked quite a bit in here, but I don't know. There was something in this comic book where I was like, this is a #1 issue, and I thought that this could have captured me a little bit better than it did. I might try the second issue. We'll see. But again, besides just a few interactions between mother-daughter here and some fighting between this, was it underburied clan or buried clan? There just wasn't anything here where I was like, man, this is a great number one. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to give this one a C-. I might try the next issue. We'll see. But there's just a lot of comic books out there. And, you know, for first issue, like I said, you got to really impress me. JSA, this is issue 1, 32 pages for the price of $4. This book is written by Jeff Lemire. Glad to see him on a DC book. The art is done by Diego yep. Yep, we're just going to stop. The artwork's good. I like it, man. I love the horrified facial expressions in there. You can see those guards really, you know, feeling it there, right? They're terrified. Lots of dense dialogue in here. I would feel like for this first issue, it's more like a status quo of the JSA and what they've gone through. I think I didn't ever finish reading the first volume. Do you have to really read that first volume to get an understanding of what's going on here? Maybe, but I did kind of understand, right? And I understand that we have this team in place. We see Jade, who's the one that's in control. It seems like they're struggling to stay together, right? And there is a traitor amongst the group, and that leaves you with a great cliffhanger here on where this book could actually go. And seeing these different cast of characters like Dr. Fate, Dr. Midnight, you got the Flash, you got Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Hawkman, other characters like that, this could be a really fun book. So I'm going to say that this book is worthy. And it's kind of cool because the other JSA members are trying to find other members that are trapped, I think, based off of what happened in Absolute Power, I think in the Tower of Fate, if I am right. I just feel a little bit lost when I read this, but I think I'll catch on as time goes along. But like I said, the cliffhanger was a lot of fun, and I did not see the traitor amongst the group. So definitely looking forward to the next issue. I'm going to give this one a solid B. Like I said, a little dense. You got to be into reading it. And if you're okay with maybe not 100% knowing what's going on, I think this could be a fun series. Absolute Superman. This is issue 1 for the price of $5. You get 44 pages, written by Jason Aaron, and the art is done by Rafa Sandoval. I thought the artwork was really good in this comic book. I love seeing all the different factions of the Kryptonians here. I thought that was really cool. You wind up getting to see like people that are working in like labor jobs. They wear the S's. People in the higher echelon areas, they wear like the suns on their chest. And I thought that was really cool. And again, this book actually explores Krypton better. And that's something that you don't get to see in Superman's comic books all that often, and you get to see the job that Jor-El has done, like how he's like a mine explorer, and the way he finds out that Krypton is going to explode, and just all those different things. I was so intrigued by that. I actually was more intrigued on what was going on in Krypton than what was going on in actual Earth right now, as we get to see Superman very briefly doing, battle against like these peacekeeper soldiers and whatnot. But it was very, overall, it was a very entertaining comic book. That artwork was phenomenal. And this is the way Superman looks here without being all covered up, because I know we've seen him kind of like in the shadows and whatnot. So I thought overall this was a nice start, and this one was very much worthy. The interesting thing about this comic, too, is that Clark actually talks to his suit, and Lois is something much different in this comic as well. So very much looking forward to the second issue here. I think Absolute Universe so far for DC has been a hit, with my top 3 being Batman first, then I would say Superman, and then Wonder Woman. If I graded this one, I'm going to grade this one a B+. I thought it was a little bit slow in the parts in the middle, and I wanted more Krypton stuff, but hey, that's okay. We'll see what happens with Superman going forward. And there you have it, webheads. There are my thoughts on this week's new issue ones. Do you agree, disagree? Whether you do or not, I always look forward to those comments. Thank you so much. And of course, I'm going to leave you more content right here for you to check out. Don't forget, my garage sale is this Saturday, November 9th, starting at 8 a.m. If you want to attend, I'll leave you details of my email in the description box below. And you can email me for all the details. And of course, guys, remember, support the local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always remember, read your comics so we can have great comic conversation. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you real soon. Bye.